Civil servants are now back to work after the Joint National Executive Council of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress on Wednesday suspended the nationwide strike, which lasted 2 days. The decision was reached at a meeting which deliberated on the outcome of an earlier interface with the federal government, led by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong. Organized Labour said it got a commitment from the Nuhu Ribadu-led meeting that those arrested for the physical assault on NLC President Joe Ajaero will be prosecuted. As part of the take-home from the federal government meeting, the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu promised to bring both parties back to the table to iron out all issues in dispute. More significant for the labor movement was the unreserved apology tendered by the NSA on behalf of the federal government for the brutalization of NLC President and other members of the Congress. For further perspective on the federal government labor meeting, I'm being joined on the news by the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong. Thank you very much for joining us on TVC News at 10. The NLC TUC suspended the strike. Does this then mean the issues raised by the organized unions have been resolved by the government?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And well, the issues, I don't know which of the issues, because before now there were issues. And those issues were the implementation of the memorandum of understanding between government and the labor, labor unions. And we were already implementing those issues and are even preparing to call a meeting to have a joint, to get a joint session where we will then examine how far we had gone with the implementation of the MOU when this matter came up. Well, as a matter of fact, the matter came up at the time I was also on my way to Geneva to attend the International Labour Organization meeting. So part of it was, I was already in Geneva when some of these things occurred, and I came back, and when we came back, it was unfortunate that a matter of that magnitude, I will say that first of all, it was a matter between the labor and a state, the state of Imo, the Imo state. And this matter had been there, yes, and we had been trying to see how to reconcile them on that matter. But when it came up abruptly, on the eve of election, it was unfortunate. And then it got to a stage where there was that incident where the NLC president was involved. We say it's unfortunate because the life of every Nigerian is sacred. And anything the government will always do to protect lives and property is what we are doing. So when it happened, I think Labour went on a strike. So when it went on that strike, I came back and realized they had already declared a strike. And with the intervention, of course, of the National Security Advisor, because this matter had to do with security. And so we had a meeting, a very brief meeting, and we had very good understanding, and out of, again, honesty and good faith, we all realized that where the mistakes were, and then also where apologies were necessary. The National Security Advisor already issued an apology and promised them that he was going to go through the security apparatus to fish out the culprit, and necessary prosecution will be done.
Well, as it is, many thought that, the immediate cause of that strike actually was the interface with the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress. But organized labor has come to say that it is beyond that. It is, a labor issue, and it encompasses the demands of organized labor. So I'm curious as to if this now is just a case of suspension of the strike or outright call-off.
Well, in terms of this issue, it is suspension because, well, they said they are lifting up the strike because for now we were already on a course with them, with the Nigerian Labour Congress. And that course was the implementation of the MOU in respect to subsidy, the implementation of the palliatives or the matters of subsidy withdrawal. So we're already on that issue. So this strike came up, and I understand they are calling off the strike, not suspension, because they are calling off the strike. And in the meantime, the NSA had already given assurance that it will liaise with all security apparatus to look and fish out all the culprits in respect to that. And after that, before that, he had already apologized for what was done to the NSC president.
Absolutely. And attackers of Joe Ajaero, we hear, have been arrested. Well, that's according to the statement now from the National Security Advisor. Is there a plan for prosecution? The NSA, from his report, gave evidence that yes, some people, some suspects were already arrested, and then they are going after all the suspects because he needed to get onto the IG, he needed to get onto the Director of the DG SSS to also look at it and see how far they have gone. Like I said, it's not about NLC alone. It's about the life of an individual. I must say, yes, the NLC president is a very important dignitary. It's an important VIP because NLC is a very important organization. Whatever will happen to him, definitely security will go and fish out the culprits. Now, this is what we have done. And the NSA has promised he's going to take up that issue, and then we'll see if the culprits fish out. They will definitely prosecute them. And Honorable Minister, just before we let you go, what really is the plan for Nigerian workers after the 6-month increment arrangement expires due to subsidy removal?
Well, we're already preparing to set up the tripartite committee. I am going to be a co-chair of the tripartite committee. All those issues were already settled within the terms of our agreements. We are going to set up, with issued notices to all of them, with issued notices to those who are supposed to make nominations. We've received nominations already for the tripartite committee. The governors have made in their nominations. The private sectors are already making their nominations, but we are also yet to get nominations from the NLC. As a matter of fact, as I'm sitting, we have not received nominations from them. And we are thinking that by next week, we should be preparing to inaugurate the committee on tripartite, the tripartite committee. And the purpose of the tripartite committee, which is all known to everybody, is to now work and determine the minimum wage. The minimum wage. So, like you said, after the 6 months, after this one, we are hoping that when we get set the minimum wage, we are not going to be talking of 35,000 again. We are going to be talking of minimum wage for Nigeria.
All right, then. Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, thank you so much for talking to us on TVC News at 10.
I'm very grateful, and thank you for having me too.